Good evening. I'm Sue Ann Delt. Today is Thursday, December 24th, 2020, and this is my daily report and card pull. So thank you for joining me. So today is Christmas Eve. Blessed Christmas Eve to you, and um, I thank you for joining me on this Christmas Eve. So yes, it's been a very blessed day. I was uh, I was planning on going into the office and working a few hours, but it was optional. It wasn't anything I had to do, just something I was going to do to try to stay on top of my little tasks that need to be done. But I didn't make it. I got up that morning and got in touch with my coworker who was planning on working half a day, and asked him to feed the cats because he was already there anyway. So that way I didn't have to go in. And instead of going to work, Alan and I got busy in the kitchen and made tiramisu for our Christmas dinner tomorrow. And we also got most of the ingredients made for our cannelloni, spinach and cheese cannelloni. And yeah, it's gonna be good. So we spent most all of the day in the kitchen on our feet, so we're tired this evening, but it's gonna be good, like I said. So I'm looking forward to finishing that up tomorrow and having a big feast and celebrating Christmas with my baby. So that has been my Christmas Eve. Yeah, he had Christmas music going in the living room, and he had our lights turned on, and it was just a really nice festive situation. So, indoor garden show and tell. These are some seedlings I have going in a discarded food can. I got holes cut in the bottom. And these are sherbet calendula. Calendula is similar to marigold, but it's not exactly the same. They're just relatives. But a lot of people call them both marigolds or call them both calendula, but they're not. They're different. I believe this is the plant that's also called pot marigold, and I'm not sure why, but that's what my research revealed. I'm pretty sure, if I'm remembering correctly. So yeah, these were planted the 13th, so they're, let's see, 11 days old today. So I think they're doing pretty good for 11 days old. I hope they keep going. The hardest thing for me to do is to thin out seedlings, because that means I have to pick some that have to die. They have to be pulled out to give the others a chance to flourish. And so sometimes I think, well, maybe I can pluck them out tenderly and then replant them in something else, but they never like that. Almost never. I guess if they were a little bit bigger than this, maybe, but I've never had it work out. They just curl up and die. I guess it's too traumatic on them being ripped from their little home. So that's my indoor garden show and tell for today. Now let's pull a card. What is this? Buckle of Isis. Card 25, Buckle of Isis. This is the very last card in the deck. Well, not our last. We still have a stack to go. But it's the highest number card in the deck. Number 25, Buckle of Isis. not bucket of ice. Buckle of ices. A ceremonial bucket, a ceremonial buckle or not, a carved stone said by some to represent the yoni. What? Oh. The nature is movable. Can you see the yoni? Fidelity, fertility, growth with a sacrifice. As an old fertility symbol dating back to the earliest times, the buckle of Isis epitomizes the multiplication principle. The mistake, however, is to limit this concept to the human reproductive system, for it extends far beyond this narrow interpretation. Spiritually, it suggests contact with other soul fragments who have also managed to lift themselves from the restraining influence of the collective. How and where this card falls will determine the level at which it should be read. Obviously, if it appears in the second house, the connotations are unlikely to be spiritual ones. Ditto with house number 5. But in a star spread, it could well suggest spiritual knowledge gained through contact with others of the group's soul. But even this demands a sacrifice, as the initial separation from the collective is nothing if not traumatic. Fidelity and sacrifice are the messages carried by the buckle of Isis, two principles that often go hand in hand. Card number 25 represents growth or abundance in investments, the family, horticulture, farming, or anything you care to name. But as with all such bounty, there is a price to pay at some point in the proceedings. In the case of parents, the sacrifice may be manifested as a duty to their progeny, which curtails other activities. With the rich man who grows richer, a health hazard caused by overwork, anxiety, or too little exercise. With the farmer, bad weather or wastage, and so forth. The buckle of Isis also represents fidelity, the daughter who will look after her ailing mother, and the wife who will stand by her husband. Men and women who have given up valuable careers to raise a family or nurse or care for another are buckle of Isis people, and there is a belief, not without foundation, that the point of repayment always comes if the service rendered has been genuine and from the heart. My goodness, the pages are sticking together. For meditation, a lovely card for the hopeful mother-to-be to meditate on as long as she is aware of the responsibilities the arrival of a newcomer will entail. Equally, anyone planting seeds of any kind, be they mental, physical, or spiritual, could benefit from the energies of the buckle of Isis. Rita. As a talisman, if you want something to grow, consider this card as your talisman for the occasion. Farmers, take buckle of Isis with you when you plant your next season's crops. You can either bury it in the ground, or better yet, just leave it overnight on top of your sack of seeds. They'll get the message even if you don't believe in it at all. Lovers and partners, you will encourage fidelity from your mate and he or she from you if you both carry buckle of Isis. The relationship will be fruitful and neither of you will balk at the idea of a little sacrifice for the other. The symbol. The yoni symbolizes the gateway or the zone of interpenetration wherein two circles intersect. The suggestion being that one must pass through the center in order to experience the unknown. In so doing, the sacrifice is made, but the expansion is achieved. There you have it, buckle of Isis. Now I couldn't imagine taking one card from my deck, a quite vintage deck at that, and leaving it on top of a sack of seeds out in my barn, or burying it in the ground next to my garden. I mean, once you do that, your deck is incomplete. You're missing one of the most important cards. Well, I mean, who's to say what card's the most important? They're all important. But if you take one card away, your deck is, you know what I mean, is no longer complete. So I'm not sure what they expect a person to do. Maybe they sacrifice the integrity of their deck by pulling a card. I wonder if you could also photocopy your card and then cut it out and then use that copy. I don't see why not. You'd have the symbol. What do you think? Think a copy would work? You think I guess someone could get desperate enough to be willing to sacrifice their deck by pulling one card out and burying it if crop failure had been a problem for quite some time. Yeah, tell me what you think. Tell me what you're doing this Christmas Eve. I want to hear what's going on. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you will join me again tomorrow night for a Christmas show. Until then, have a pleasant evening, and I'll see you soon. Good night.